back to my channel. I hope you guys have had a wonderful week, and I'm here delivering the video like I promised. The next video I said it was going to be pharmacy school related, so that's the topic of today's video. Today's video is going to be all about the pharmacy school interview. I'm going to speak on behalf of my personal experiences, and if you're a viewer and you've done pharmacy school interviews and you have any tips that you would like to share that was not covering in this video, comment down below for our viewers to read. I hope you guys find this video very helpful, especially if you're having an interview soon, and let's keep watching. So when I applied to pharmacy school, I was on my 2-year gap, and I was working as a tutor at that time. So when my pharmacy school interview dates came in, it was very easy for me to take time off because I was not studying. Because of the times that it happened, I think it would have been a little bit difficult to make it to all of them while in school. So for me, pharmacy school interviews wasn't that much of a stress for me. Of course, I was still always nervous. There were still a lot of things that I was not sure about for pharmacy school interviews, which are things that I'm going to share with you in case you have the same questions like I had back in the day. Okay, so I submitted my application for pharmacy school the day after early decision deadline was. I did it because I wasn't 100% committed to one single school. I wanted to give myself the best chance possible, so which is why I made that decision. And at the same time, making that decision was like a blessing in disguise, because since I interviewed with the early decision folks, I also received my notice of acceptance or denial on the same time, which saved me a lot of money at the end because I didn't realize how expensive it could be traveling to all these different sites. If I was out of state, I would have needed to fly out there. So my first interview was at the University of Houston College of Pharmacy at the Texas Medical Center. Before we got our new building, half of the school took place at the University of Houston main campus, and the other half of the 4 years of school took place at Texas Medical Center. So interviews took place in our pharmacy building in the Texas Medical Center. And a very important tip for going to interviews is to try to get there at least 30 minutes in advance. This is because parking can become such a hassle. For me, I thought I was going to find parking early on in the garage floors, but I ended up parking all the way up to the 10th floor because it was just so packed of people, since that garage is shared by everyone in Texas Medical Center. And I had to get off the car, then wait for the elevator, and it took me about like 15 minutes just to get to the building from the garage. And this is that it was literally right next to the building, the garage, but because of the traffic flow and the people coming, and then you have to cross the street sometimes, it took me longer than I thought to get inside the building. And then once you make it inside the building, depending on the security that they have, you might have to pass through the security gate to check in, and then you're allowed to go into that area where you're going to wait for your interview to start. So after I took care of all of that, I took a little breather because I was extremely nervous at the time. So I took a little break just to relax from just the hassle of getting inside. And then I went in, and you sit in this big room with everyone else is going to interview at your time, and you wait for instructions. So I don't really remember exactly what took place first at my interview at University of Houston, so I'm just going to talk about everything that I did. It's not in a particular order. So one of the places that you have to be in is this big old room where you sit with everyone else, and in that room there's a lot of tables where you get to hang out with different students that are currently going through the program. You get to try on your white coat and figure out which size you were gonna fit in case you do get accepted, and then it helps them speed up that process so we can get the white coats on time for your white coat ceremony. And you also get to meet the dean, and you get to talk to them for a little bit, and then they get to talk to you about the school if you had any questions. It's not really part of the interview, but everyone always says you never know who's interviewing you, so I took it as an interview. So I always wanted to present myself in a positive way, especially when I interacted with everyone that was coming in, and not just like the current students, but also the other students that were interviewing with you, because they tend to look at how you interact with your other people you're competing against. So I was just my normal self, just being funny, just talking to everyone, getting to know their stories, getting to know why they were interested in pharmacy school, trying to learn like inside stories about like what to expect once I get into pharmacy school. And it was a really great time. It helped me relax while I was waiting for the next nerve-wracking things to take place. So the other thing that I had to do was my one-on-one interview. For your one-on-one interview, you get sent to a different room where you get to talk to the advisors, and they help you kind of relax before you go in and just ask you like silly questions like, you're a superhero, which superhero you were, what would be your typical superpower, or what's something that you ate last night, or stuff like that, just to help you relax and to get into the game. So the one-on-one interview for me at that school, it was one current professor and one alumni. So there was two people in the room. The questions that I was asked were typical questions. Why are you interested in pharmacy school? What type of pharmacist do you want to be, since pharmacy is just not just about community setting. Also, if you were interested in other schools, they asked me a little bit if I applied to other schools. And I was also asked the common question, tell me about yourself. And that question, I basically answered it by saying a little bit of my background story. I was a first generation student. I went to X and Y and Z undergrad. I graduated at X, Y, and Z. I was taking a little bit of time off to just make sure I was making the right decision, since it is the next 4 years of your life. And at the same time, I was working at a school, and then I told them what led me into pharmacy and why I decided to apply for their school. And then they also ask you situational questions like how to problem solve things. They ask you questions about, tell me about one of your weaknesses, tell me about a time where you had an issue with someone, tell me something that you know it's important but you hate doing. And questions can vary. I would just recommend Googling like top 100 questions interviewers ask and just answer them on your own time and just practice that way. That's basically what I did. So I was prepared for any type of questions, because it's not just like straightforward questions. It can be like out of the blue questions just to see how you react under pressure. Now, if you get asked a question and you don't know the answer to the question, that is perfectly fine. Just the best thing that I will do in that situation was to take a little bit of a timeout, just think about it for a couple seconds, then try to answer the best you can. Don't make up anything, because they're going to be able to tell if you're making up lies. Also, you can also say, that is a very great question. Unfortunately, I do not know the answer to at this time, but I can get back to you at a later time during the interview if you like. We can go back to this question. That is okay. We don't know everything, which is why we're still studying. So don't freak out if that happens to you. Just keep your cool down. Just treat it as a professional and move on. So after that part of the interview, you were given a little lunch break. So they have pizza for you, so that's what we ate for pizza for lunch. And then after you eat, it's important just to like have any gum or like a little Listerine bottles, just to help with that bad breath, because it's not the end of the interview day. So after that, I was sent into this room where we had the group style interview, and you're given a case and you have to work together as a team to solve it. So in that room, because it's a group interview, you're being tested to see how well you work with a team. It's very important to be able to speak what you say, but at the same time, don't bring anyone else down. Don't be the one talking all the time, and try to be a leader and engage everyone in the conversation. It's okay if you don't have the same ideas as someone else in your table. The best way to see is like, I see what you're saying, but, and then you say your way, or say, that's a really good point, but I think that, and then you say what you want to say. There's going to be the interviewers on the background, but just pretend that they're not there and just work with the team to try to solve the problems. If you are just get nervous and you just need a little pause, it's okay to pause. You don't have to be constantly speaking. You can pause, think your thoughts through, and then go back and join in the conversation, because you do get 30 minutes to solve the whole case. There's actually no answer to the case. It's just mainly to see how you interact with anyone else, because as a pharmacist, you're going to be part of the interprofessional team, and you're going to interact with people from other professions, and it's very important to know when to speak, when not to speak, to voice your opinion, because at the end of the day, your responsibility is to make sure that your patient gets the best care that they need. So this type of interview style, the mini style interviews, they help assess that quality in you to see if you will have that later on once you become a pharmacist. So after you're done with that part, you're basically done with the hardest part of the interview. And the last thing to do is just to go to the room with the advisor, and then they go double check your paperwork and see if you're missing anything that you need to turn in, and then you're on your way. So that was it for the UWH interview. So the other interviews that happened to me were pretty similar, but the only difference is that I was asked to do a writing sample, which was something I was not expecting at that time, and then I was asked to present like a small topic or something that I've done in undergrad, which is also something I did not expect. So always be prepared for those kind of things at your interview. You never know what they're gonna throw at you, and it's basically just to see how you act under pressure. Let's go ahead and talk about clothing. So if you're a guy, it's obviously no brainer. Just wear business professional, a nice set of pants, a nice set of suits, a nice short, not too extravagant. You can dress in the school colors if you like. If you don't want to wear something just white and black, a nice tie. Make sure you're well groomed. Your hair is looking great. Not too strong of a smell. Some people might be allergic to the smells, and then that might be a instead of listening to you at the interview, they're just probably just thinking about how strong your smell is. So just be not too strong of a perfume. You can bring a portfolio to keep your important stuff there, and just make sure socks and a nice pair of shoes. Okay, for girls, just think conservative. You can wear a nice business dress with a nice blazer. Just make sure all the colors coordinate. You can wear a set of slacks and a nice blouse and a blazer. You can also wear a skirt with a nice shirt and a blazer. Just make sure that it's business professional, your color coordinator, and because of the amount of walking you might be doing, just go ahead and wear flats. Any solid color flats will do, and just be the most comfortable as you can. And if you're thinking about stockings, the best way, if you're not sure, just wear them. Just being a little bit extra conservative doesn't hurt, because the people who might be interviewing, they can range from all ages, and you just want to cover the ground. Just be the safe dressed as possible. Okay, so now let's talk about makeup. So I did wear makeup to my interview. I made sure that my makeup was as neutral as possible. I didn't want to be too extra on my makeup, but I did want to have a nice presentation. For jewelry, I wore earrings similar to these, just some nice studs. You don't have to wear a necklace, just some nice studs would do. Then for my nails, I just make sure that they're nicely trimmed. You don't have to go to nail salon if you don't want to. Just make sure that they look nice and trimmed, like no nail polish that's fading off on your nails. No one long nail, one short nail. Just make everything consistent. And for my accessories, I took a portfolio where I had all my notes to write down, and then I took a small little purse just to make sure to have my phone in there, and other essentials like gum. There's something I had. For perfume, I just wore something light, something nice, not too much perfume, just like the guys. And then I had a water bottle with me to drink water as I was walking around. Okay, so the next thing is hairstyles for girls. So for girls, since our hair is very versatile, you can do many hairstyles with it. Really, the hairstyle doesn't really matter, just as long as it looks nice and presentable. Hair color, just try to be conservative if you can, like how was I mentioning as a tip earlier. Next tip I want to cover is restrooms. It is perfectly okay to go to the restroom during an interview. It's not like a taboo not to go to the restroom. Of course, we want you to be all 100% at your best during the interview time. So if there's a time that you need to go to the restroom, just go ahead and feel free and ask someone to show you where the nearest restroom is. For me, I will wait till we had those breaks in between each session, and I will go to the restroom there. And every time you go somewhere and you just randomly meet someone, just pretend you're still interviewing, because you never know who they know. If you say, oh man, this interviewer that I had was very mean and what so and so, you don't know if they might be working for that person, so they'll be like, hey, this student that just interviewed with you told me this and this as I was talking to them in the hallway, and you don't want to make that bad impression. So always be professional anywhere that you walk through at the interview site. So I did have the opportunity to have interviews outside of my hometown, and the best tip for that is, especially if it's a very early interview, just get there the day before. You never know what might happen on the streets. If you get there, you try to get their day off. And for example, for me, one of mine was in San Antonio, which is 4 hours drive away from where I currently live, and the night before was so rainy. It was really bad. It was as bad as that you can't see what's in front of you, and the next day the rivers had overflowed, so it would have been impossible for me to leave that morning. And it rained throughout that whole time, even in San Antonio, that's 4 hours away. So getting back home was also a difficult thing to do. So just do yourself a favor and get there the day before. It will save you lots of time and lots of stress. You're already being nervous about the interview, so just don't give yourself an extra pressure by trying to get there the day off, especially if it's an early interview, because you don't want to be late. Being late is already a bad first impression, so just get early. That's the best thing I can say about that. The next thing is phone interviews. Some schools, depending on the weather, they might cancel the in-person interviews, and if it's late in the game and they have to get all their interviews done, they might offer you a phone interview. So if you do a phone interview, just pretend that you're talking to them face to face. Just be your normal self, and just you don't have to answer the questions right away. If you need a couple seconds to think about it, that is perfectly fine. Always remember to thank the person who interviewed you at the end of the conversation, and for taking the time off their schedule to interview you towards the phone, and you should be solid. So the last thing I want to talk to you guys about is the benefits of applying the day after early decision deadline. So if there's like schools that you really want to apply to, but you're not 100% sure, just submit the application the day after early decision deadline, because like I said, you must most likely will have a chance to interview with the early decision folks and get to know your decision offer earlier in the game than doing just late regular deadline. So for me, one of the schools that I really wanted to go to was U of H, but there was also other schools I had in mind. But so I decided to submit the day after. I did get to interview at U of H first. I did not find out my interview offer until I took the other interviews that I did at the other schools. And when I was like, I found out about U of H on my interview day at San Antonio after I endured that whole rainy night trip to San Antonio. The next morning, I got the email from U of H saying that I was accepted. But since I was already there and I wasn't like 100% sure, I decided to give the school a chance, and I did not want to be unprofessional and not show up, because there were people that did not get an interview offer, and me, I did get an interview offer, so I didn't want to be that person that just didn't show up where someone else could have taken that offer spot. And I did get accepted to that school too. So then when I was weighing out the risks and benefits of either school, I just decided to end up going to U of H because it was close to home. I didn't have to leave my parents' house. I was like right next to the medical center, so I thought for rotations wise, I will be in the best city to get the rotations that I want. So that was one of the factors that I decided to stay at U of H, which was very, going back to why it's a good idea to do that, it saved me lots of money in the end. So from all the schools that I ended up applying to, there was like two schools that I did not get an offer to interview, which was okay, because after the UH interview, I was kind of set on staying there. And after I decided that like around November, so mainly the interviews offers that came after that, I just declined it. I felt like there was no point of me going to those schools and interview, because I already had my mindset of U of H, and there was one more school that did want to interview, but I did not get an interview offer, so then that went out of the picture. And in the end, it ended up saving me lots of money, because a lot of those schools were not in Houston, and that would require me getting there and getting a hotel room, and I saved lots of money by just declining them because I already chose the school I wanted to. So the moral of the story is, before I continue on rambling, if there is a school that you really want to, but you still not sure that you want to early commit to it, just submit the day after, because then it falls under the regular admission cycle, but they'll probably see your application with the early decision people, and you'll probably get an interview offer with the early decision people, and you will know your response sooner than everyone else. So this video, it's a little bit longer than usual for my usual videos, but the interview process, it is a lengthy process. It is a little bit of nerve-wracking, but just know that you made it that far, and you should be so proud of making it that far. And whatever happens, just give it your 100%. Okay, so thank you so much for watching this video. If there's anything that I did not cover and you would like for me to answer, just let me down in the comments below. Also, please like and subscribe. I will have more pharmacy videos. The next thing I probably want to talk about is going to pharmacy school and staying at home with your parents, how it's like, not going and renting your own place. Okay, so thank you so much for watching this video. Please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe down below. If you have any tips that you would like to share, just put them on the comments below. If there's anything you would like to ask me that I did not cover, just put it also in the comments down below. Keep on the lookout for next week for more pharmacy videos. If there's any topics that you would like for me to cover, just let me know. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I wish you all the very best, and thanks for watching. Bye.